Dear learners, welcome to NIOS, the video series. As you can see, I'm using Indian Sign Language. The subject is Home Science, lesson number 20. The title is Adolescence, someone who's in between the childhood and the adulthood, the period of growing up. As you can see from the PPT, typical characteristics. Remember the word typical, I told you what that means, and typical characteristics of the adolescence. First is to do with looks. Between the age of 11 to 18, girls start to feel, a little odd or awkward about their bodies because, they're starting to get pimples or, their bodily changes are happening. They are, they're not very confident about their skin. They want to look clean. The eyebrows start to grow up. The upper lips start to come in. So that's a very not natural process that, happens in the adolescence, which is very, very natural. That when we go for a job interview or when we are on stage somewhere, do you know what kind of an anxiety and what kind of a thrill, the adrenaline that we have in our body when we have to sing or we have to sign or we have to, that nervousness. And once we've left, that nervousness goes away. That level of nervousness is there in the adolescence all the time, 24/7. So children between the age of 11 to 18 are very conscious about how they are looking, how, the society is perceiving them. So that's a lot of anxiety one adolescent can have. Second is all adolescents have their own peer group culture, be it, their peculiar style of walking, talking, or, dressing up, etc., which may be very strange for adults. Wearing earrings, getting a tattoo, piercing, nose piercing, etc. So that's peer group culture. This is also a period, from 11 to 18 years old, be it in school, tuitions, etc. Girls and boys start to develop experiencing crushes for each other. They just, like to see each other and just, about the opposite sex. They start to feel something in their body, If someone's coming, you just rub your hair, etc. So yeah, that also happens. Then the fourth one is, idealism. For example, I'm 13 and I would look up to my teacher who's 25. The way she dresses up, the way she looks, how tall she is. So we all have ideals in our life, who we want to become like. Or maybe movie actors, musicians, etc. So there's a lot of idealism for cricketers, for stylists, for, someone with a bike, an older person, etc. So at the same time, sometimes, even idealism can be bad. You can look up to someone who's doing drugs or smoking, etc. So there's both good and bad idealism. Fifth is, as you can see, there's an argument between a mother and a daughter. Adolescents feel that, rebellion at some or the other time. The parents might not allow them to wear a different kind of clothes which are not looking nice, but the adolescents want to wear that. Or, they want to ride a bike at the age which is not the right age. So there's a huge generation gap as well. The adolescents want to go their way, whereas the parents want to have their way. So these are the typical past characteristics. There can be some problems also that adolescents have to face. Let me discuss that. First is eating disorder. There can be eating disorder. Some early maturing adults may feel that they're becoming too fat, they're looking obese. So they would start not eating food in the right quantities that they should. They would eat a very, very less amount. Or, they would sometimes even go and vomit out all the food that they've eaten and think about looking thinner. So eating disorders can also happen. At the same time, there can be the opposite sense where a person starts eating too much also out of stress. So that's also there. Second is suicidal tendencies. An adolescent who's not been able to, be a part of a social group, maybe not getting invited to a birthday party, not getting into pictures, not being selected for a dance program in school, and starting to feel, underconfident and even commit suicide. That is a lot that happens during adolescence. So peer attention is something that they really care for. So it's very important that parents keep a check on their child and, keep asking them if they're doing okay, rather than, having regretted after they've done something wrong. Third is peer pressure. Peer pressure, they would start, smoking, etc., under the ambit of wrong peers, start doing drugs, etc., and, under the ambit of feeling that they're cool people, and they can go in the wrong direction. So it's important that they are with caring friends only. Personal problems, if I'm looking good or not, if I'm too fat, if I'm too thin, is my house beautiful, am I skilled enough, am I not studying well in class? So all these personal thoughts are also a problem in the adolescence. Leaving out friends, leaving you, or you leaving friends, etc., can also be a problem. Social problems, for example, adolescents don't really want to go for family functions. They dislike participating in social and family functions and feel bored. So they just don't like it. They just possibly want to be with their own kind of people and own kind of friends only, who understand them better. So that is also an issue. Biological problems. For example, it's complicated for both boys and girls. For females, when they start their menstrual cycle, not understanding what practices should be taken, be it sanitary napkins, how to go to school, if people will get to know about me. For boys, it can be nocturnal emissions, etc. So all these things, they are not aware about how to go about it. For both men and women, there has to be professionals, health professionals, who can address their, consult them with their medical needs and tell them about their bodily changes. Even teachers or schools can take that up. So teachers can take that up, with the doctors coming to school, etc., and teaching about the changes that are coming in the adolescent's body. A lot of time they don't open up about what is happening and later on can have issues. Similarly, a lot of times in villages specifically, there are unhygienic menstrual cycle practices. There is no sanitary napkins, etc., and they practice unhygienic practices which can be very, very bad for females in the long run. So it's very important that they are trained about these hormonal changes that are going to come for them. Seventh point, teenage pregnancy, which happens a lot. From the age of 11 to 18, the young girls can get pregnant sometimes. It happens, for example, families get their children married very quickly. The girl is not understanding the social, economic, etc. conditions of the family and is still forced to get married. So that can happen a lot, and the baby, the infant that comes in, is also a weak infant. The girl who's herself a kid right now, adolescent right now, teenage, cannot understand how to take care of a baby. In India, the right age for women to get married is 18 and men is 21, so that their bodies are well developed, they are confident, experienced, and they know what is the right thing that they have to have when they're having a baby, rather than having teenage pregnancy at all. So it has to stop, because the changes are important to cater to. Now we have discussed part 2 of the lesson. Let's begin part 3. Thank you.